Guys, my name is Dennis Alonso and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the high defensive line. Now we have Team A with their defender setup and Team B with their defender setup. But when you look at these two teams, you can see a little bit of difference. Team A defenders are more closer to the pole, and Team B defenders are higher up the pitch. They are not closer to the pole. That brings us to the high defensive line. Why should Team B defenders leave the goal they are defending and push up high up into the pitch? That is the reason we are going to talk about, and that is what we call the high defensive line. Now we can see that we have two teams set up. One is defending a high line defense, and another team is also defending in a low block. They are not defending a high line. That is Team A. But what is the reason for that? Why should defenders leave the goalpost they are defending and be high up the pitch? Is it not dangerous? But there's a tactic to that. The reason for high defensive line is because of what? Offside rule and also pressing. Now, when defenders are set up in a high line or defenders push up, opposing strikers or opponents can't just run in behind the defense line, because when they do that, they'll be flagged offside. And in this way, the high line tactic has worked. So that is the reason why a lot of coaches use this tactic, because they'll let their defenders push up high the pitch, and when opposing players run in behind the defense, they are flagged offside. Another reason for playing the high defensive line is pressing. Now when your defenders push high up the pitch as seen below, it aids in pressing because you have your midfielders and your striker all playing in a narrow field against their opponents. So when that happens, they are able to win the ball back easily. So that is the main reason for playing the high defensive line. One, for offside rule, and the second, for pressing. Defenders in the high line can't just push up when they feel like pushing up. Timing is everything. They have to push up as a unit. In that way, when an opponent with the ball passes through their defense line, is flagged offside. But when an opponent moves late, for example, let's say the center back was here. Now, in this way, it has disjointed the high line because three will push up, leaving one. So when you have a quick opponent or a quick midfielder running in behind the space here, the fellow will be flagged offside, and that will be a dangerous place, and the fellow will be able to score goal. So because of that, when playing the high defensive line, you need to push up as a unit. When you push up as a unit, that way the opponent can be flagged offside. So playing the high defensive line, timing is everything. Another reason for employing the high line is it compresses the field of play. Because when you have defenders who push up high up the pitch, definitely their midfielders and strikers who also push up. And when all of them push up, leaving this big space in behind, it compresses the playing field. That way opponents with the ball can't measure passes they pass to their players to score, because they'll be under intense pressure from the opponent, from Team B, because they are pressing them high, because the pitch is small. Because when you have a high line and your defenders push up, it makes the pitch so small that opponents can't have time on the ball. They can't pass in between your defense or your midfielders because the space is very small. So that is the reason why you play the high line, because it will compress the space in the pitch. And when it compresses the space in the pitch, opponents with the ball can't simply just pass by. They will suffer because you'll be pressing them at the same time. So that is the reason for playing the high line. But when, like I said, your defense is disjointed and you have quick opponents, they are able to run. And when they run and pass your defense, they'll be able to score goal. So when you are employing the high line, you need to get players who are very understandable, players who understand, who have built a relationship. Because if they don't build a relationship, they don't understand each other. They will not know when to push up, they don't know when to come back. And when this does not happen, opponents with the ball will be able to score. So basically, that is the high line. So one advantage is that it compresses the playing field. And when it compresses the playing field, you have all your players high up the pitch. That way you have an advantage over them, because you have many players tackling opponents. and that way you are able to win the ball back using pressing and the rest. This high defensive line or high line tactic was mostly used by Rinus Michels of Barcelona. He also employed a high line. Pep Guardiola of Manchester City and also at Barcelona used a high line. Tottenham, Mauricio Pochettino of Tottenham has also used this tactic, the high line defense. Also, Thomas Tuchel of Borussia Dortmund also used this high defensive line. So it is a good tactic if you know how to play it, and you'll be able to win games, because number one, they will be pressing, it will compress the field of play, which will enable your players to have man advantage. Secondly, you'll be able to operate the offside rule very fast because you have a high line, and when players try to run, they'll be flagged offside. So basically, this is what the high defensive line. Also, Graham Taylor of Watford also used this high defensive line, which is a very good tactic. So a lot of coaches are still using the high defensive line, and it helps. Thank you. So guys, that has been it. That's a high defensive line, and I hope you've learned something. Comment below, subscribe to my channel for more videos, and also you comment and tell me what to do next, and I'll do it for you. Peace.